Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Y'all Asked For This, where enough people in my life have been like, hey, why don't you have a podcast? Hey, you should start a podcast. And I was like, I do love yapping. So here we are. If you are new to me, hey, hi, hello. My name is Jessie. I am just a person who loves people so much. And I really hope that love and compassion just gets extended to you so you can have more love and compassion for yourself and hopefully also for other people. On today's episode, we are going to talk about how there is nothing wrong with you. I said it. There's nothing wrong with you. You're so beautiful. You're such a lovely human. God, I love people so much. So let's talk about it. So I say that there's nothing wrong with you because there's just this pressure that most of humanity has on being the best quote version of themselves or always being in a quote happy place in their life, when really all of those things just make life kind of miserable. Having that kind of pressure on yourself, because it's something that we have all gone through at one point or another, when really if you just embrace the fact that there's nothing wrong with feeling in a quote more lower frequency, or where things just maybe don't feel quite great in life in general, and embracing that, it's where change starts to happen. So the more that you fight these things, the more that you're just I don't want to feel this way, distract, push down, get rid of it. The more you're trying to ignore these things or get them to change, the more energy you're actually giving to them that you're then going to have to sift through to actually get to the change that you're looking for. So really just embracing where you are instead of trying to pretend that it's not where you are. Because if you're pretending that it's not where you are, you don't even have a solid ground to begin to start taking the next step forward. This happens a lot with emotions. Most people don't love feeling, sad, mad, irritated, whatever the quote lower emotions. Of course, they're not that fun to deal with, I understand. But if you're just pretending like they don't exist, or really trying to fight to get to the next thing, it's giving those emotions even more power because you're trying to fight them. You're giving yourself something to fight against, as opposed to just being I am angry today. And sometimes you know what it's about and sometimes you do not. And if you know what it's about, it's even easier sometimes to be and it's okay that it is here. It is valid for me to feel my anger. It is valid for me to feel my sadness, my grief, my guilt, whatever it is. And then it's almost your body can relax a little bit because you're giving yourself permission to feel your freaking feelings. And honestly, healing really starts when you start accepting what you feel and where you're at. And I say that because, again, it just releases the pressure on things. You know what it's like when somebody's trying to force you to do something. It just becomes this battle. It doesn't feel good. If somebody's being oh, you should do this, do it. That doesn't feel good. And it's you sometimes are literally doing that to yourself, as opposed to just acknowledging what's happening and then moving forward. So there's literally nothing wrong with you when you're feeling your feels. Honestly, it's just such a human experience that most people try to fight against, because of course we want to live happy and in flow and just feeling really good all the time. But you can't feel good and happy and be in flow if you're not also open to feeling the lower quote emotions. I say that a lot. Actually, it's you don't get to decide what you let in if you're letting things in. You don't get to be all I want to feel is happiness and that's all I'm open to. If you're going to be open to feeling a emotion, you have to be an emotion. You have to be open to feeling all of them. And I will say that the more that you get practice at being hey, this is here. Hey, hi, hello, you're here. I'm going to feel you. You belong here. And then your body's I belong here. And then the emotion can release a little bit faster. But the more that you practice at that, the faster that it goes. It still doesn't necessarily feel good. You're still going to be crying. You're still going to be irritated. But it feels less consuming over your day or over your life because you're not fighting against it. You're just allowing yourself to be where you are at. And you can see this a lot too, and just like other aspects, not even in emotional stuff. But if you're somebody who goes to the gym, you know what it's like to be disciplined and be used to hitting a certain weight, being able to push, pull, whatever, a certain weight, and then just having those days where you just can't. Like, you can get mad about it, or you can meet your body where it's at and use less weight or do less reps. It's just meeting yourself where you're at each day, because as you do that, you're still progressing forward. Forward progression is never really, I'm not gonna say never, but rarely is it a super linear path. You're gonna go up and you're gonna take a couple slide backs, and then it's just gonna continue the progress forward with this flow, because flow, again, it's not just flowing to goodness. Like, flow is flowing with all of it. And the thing with being able to flow is that then you also get to be open to all of this magic that you wouldn't have even been able to comprehend. You're open to all of these things that, like, you could not have even dreamt of if you are open to flowing through life. And again, as a gym example, you can see that a lot of the time where people like set goals. I know that like one of my goals when I first started going to the gym was to get down to like 128. As a professional dancer growing up and for quite a while, so I had like body image stuff, right? 128 is where I wanted to be. I remember getting to like 133 and being like, this is great. I don't want to get to 128 anymore. I like this. I like this right now. I feel good. I feel strong. I like how I look. Screw 128. And then I still got to 128. Eye roll. And then I was like, put it back. This actually isn't where I want to be. That's kind of the thing with setting goals a little bit too hard, is that then it becomes such a tunnel vision focused thing that then you're not open to everything else to come in. Like, if you're so tunnel vision on, I want to get to 128, then it doesn't matter what I felt like, or it wouldn't have mattered what I felt like at 133 because I was too focused on 128, when really in the present moment, and even after that present moment, I was like, no, this feels good. You get to learn new ways of what actually feels good to you, as opposed to being like, this is what my brain is telling me feels good. You actually get to feel what is going to feel good to you. So really being open to flow in the process. I'm not saying don't have goals, but within those goals, make sure that you are able to pivot, to be present. Like we talked about last time, like being present is just such a game changer in life. Being present with where you are in all aspects. And also knowing that even if you are having a bad day or something has happened and you're like super pissed off about it, it's still okay to be open to joy and happiness in other aspects of your life. I feel like a lot of people think that it's like faking it if they're really angry about something or they have something going on in their life, and then they're, laughing with their friends, or something happened at work that was fun and they really enjoyed it. You can live in both worlds at the same time. It doesn't mean that you're like faking life because you're laughing when really like your heart's broken, And that's also being able to like meet yourself where you're at and know that it's still just like part of the human experience to experience all these things, and you can literally be experiencing multiple feelings on such different degrees and such different areas of your life. Or even if you are dealing with heartbreak, you can also sit there and be so appreciative of the lessons that you've learned from that person and have so much love and compassion for them as you're also in such a shattered state. It becomes a very wild dynamic to play with doing this, being just where you are in the moment. I guess that's kind of something that comes with practice with it, though. I'm not going to say you're going to feel so good for somebody else after they've broken your heart. But being able to be honest with yourself of like, that fucking sucked. And it's okay. What are you going to do with it? Again, it just kind of opens up the path for you to start taking your next steps, and that doesn't necessarily have to look like what your brain thinks next steps are. And that's also the point, because sometimes it's sitting in bed. Sometimes it really is just letting yourself blob it out. It's okay to be a blob. there's nothing wrong with you. You just need a little bit of a break. And sometimes it's okay too. I don't really love living in the mind too much, but there are also times where it's helpful to be like, no, I've been pushing myself pretty freaking hard. And of course I'm overwhelmed. Of course my body wants to chill right now. Having that awareness too can be really helpful, and just allowing yourself to be where you are and knowing that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Now, to give like an even further example as to why there's nothing wrong with you. Again, I love human design. I think it's so fascinating. It's so validating for people. So to use that as an example, in human design, about 50% of the population is called emotionals, and the other 50% are called non-emotionals. Basically, this is just something in your chart, whether it's colored in or defined is what that's called, or open or undefined. And either way, we're gonna be feeling our feels. And it's so magical because either way, there's nothing wrong with you. So the 50% of the population that are emotionals are people who literally will have an emotional wave. They just feel not great sometimes, and there's literally no reason for it. This will show up in varying degrees. Some people have a more subtle wave, some people have a more explosive wave where it like kind of builds and then explodes. But regardless, these are people who will wake up in the morning sometimes and just be like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me, but I don't feel good. And they are probably just in their emotional wave, as long as obviously they're not in reaction to something. So just knowing that you have, quote, an emotional wave can be really empowering, because then you can just let it happen. Just let it be there. Let yourself either, dive in. You can embrace it hardcore and just listen to some sad music and watch a sad movie and eat your freaking cookies or something. Or you can know that it's a thing and just let people know that, hey, I'm just not feeling the greatest today, but I'm doing my best. And also in those moments, being open to happiness and joy outside of your little container of not feeling good. Because again, it doesn't mean that you have to live there, and it doesn't mean that it's not there if you're also open to having other external factors make you happy. But the point is to not fight it, not be like searching for those things to make you happy, but just being like, I feel harumph. And that's okay, but I'm still gonna, go to the gym. I might see the person that makes me happy, or, I'm gonna watch TV, and whatever thing might actually make me laugh super hard, and just like being open to all of it and being able to embrace feeling like just a person, just being a person. Also, I'm so sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. She is yelling right now. So as an emotional, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just how you're designed. You're designed to feel something sometimes and have literally no reason for it. And it's just allowing it to happen. And then a day or so, it passes, and then you get to experience the other high and happiness because you let yourself feel your low. Now, on the flip side, non-emotionals, that would be me. We are people who, if we are not in reaction to something, or if we haven't picked up on other people's stuff, we're pretty chill, in all honesty. We get to wake up and almost daily be like, hey, day, like, you're so happy. What are we going to do today? Type of thing. Not even we're so happy. It's just like a neutral, like, what are we going to do today? But the thing with being a non-emotional, or just having any open center in human design generally, is that you pick up on other people's stuff and amplify it. So if somebody is in reaction to something or in their emotional wave and they're feeling it at a like 6 out of 10, if I'm not careful, I'm going to pick it up at like an 8 or 9 out of 10. And then I'm going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with me? When really, again, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just picking up other people's stuff. And that's okay. Sometimes it's really cool to be able to be super sympathetic to somebody and what they're going through and really be able to feel that. Again, I mean, I love being a human and a person. So being able to experience the range of emotions and everything can be super fun, but it also can make you really compassionate and just more loving to other people's experiences and what they're going through. But you have to kind of take that second and be like, is this even mine? And even if it's not, knowing that and then just letting it kind of like fade off of you type of thing. Either way, there's nothing wrong with you. If I'm picking up somebody's stuff and I'm in my feels and don't realize it, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just being like, well, okay, I guess I just feel like shit today. Or, I'm just angry about nothing. And when you sit there and you are like, I'm angry about nothing, it can kind of be like a funny thing, because like, why am I so mad then? And I mean, they do say that laughter is very good medicine, and it does kind of kick you out of those lower frequencies really quickly. So just kind of allowing yourself to witness that. But again, either way, being an emotional or a non-emotional, it means that there's nothing wrong with you. It's just about embracing where you're at and what you're going through at that point in time. All of this stuff is just like, when you embrace it, you get to just watch life unfold. You just get to see the next steps that you may not have been able to see if you were still fighting to feel better in a certain way, as opposed to being like, hey, this is where I'm at. I was actually reading a book yesterday, and it just brilliant. The brilliancy that came with this. And it was from The Afterword. And I want to give you this example because how aligned that I picked up a book that I haven't touched in like so many months. I don't even, over 6 months, I have not touched this book. And I finished it and was reading the afterword from the author, and he just put it so brilliantly. I'm 15 books into this series, and he says, maybe that's the real thrill of storytelling, when you start getting scared of the characters who've totally smashed the plot you so carefully constructed. And it's just like, it is that. You get to smash the plot the moment you embrace what is happening in your story. And if you cling too hard, then you have those super carefully constructed plots in your life. And then it just feels a little bit harder, a little bit scarier, a little bit more chaotic. But as you start to embrace it in the moment, it becomes just interesting. You just watch yourself grow and evolve and be like, holy moly, how cool is that? How cool that I get to feel that feel, and how cool that I get to feel this completely opposite, even higher feeling, because I allowed myself to be honest with myself and embrace the fact that that's where I'm at. It's also kind of something that I think a lot of people are searching for. So many people just want to feel like so seen and so heard right now. My question to you, if that's something that like resonates with you, is how honest are you being with yourself about how you feel? How can you expect somebody else to see you and hear you if you yourself are fighting against what you're feeling? Like if you yourself are not seeing and hearing yourself. So just a reminder that like there's nothing wrong with you. You're just on your path, and it's absolutely glorious. And sometimes within that path too, there are plateaus, and we get to hang out and kind of integrate where we are and what we've learned. And it's just not always what quote forward progress looks like. But it's still progress, because you're still integrating things and still learning things and allowing things to kind of settle and give you a new foundation to work with. So just knowing wherever you're at, it's absolutely magical. Just accept how you're feeling. And then again, pay attention and just look around and see where your next step is after doing that. And I know I am talking a lot in like the more negative aspects, but it's those things that are obviously not quite as easy feeling to embrace so much, because then the scary thing is that then you also get to embrace happiness and joy so much. And then the kicker for that is that you start clinging to that. And then it becomes this fight. So it's really about just flowing through both sides, being able to experience that happiness, that high, that joy, and know that you're probably not going to keep it. But because you're so presently embracing it, you're not even focused on the fact that like it's not going to stick around, because that's just life. We flow. We go up, we go down, we get to flow through everything. So you also get to really embrace those like highs as well. I want to end you with a quote that I found today. Actually, I freaking love how aligned just things come within the day that I'm going to be filming. And this is a quote from Cailin Dion. And it says, if you live your life with clenched fists, you won't be able to receive the gifts that are meant for you. Open your hands. And it is just so beautifully concise with what I've been saying. If you are so focused on this one thing and forcing it to happen, you don't get to be open to the magic that the universe, God, source, whatever, can actually bring into your life. So that is all for today. There's nothing wrong with you. You're so magical. You're so beautiful. You deserve all the love and compassion for yourself and also for everyone around you. Make sure to like and subscribe so I know that you like this stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye. Oh, hey, hi. Editing Jess. I just wanted to pop in and give you another example of what this looks like, because after I recorded this episode, I ended up going to the gym, but my intention was like, I don't feel like pushing really hard. I was a little bit tired. I was going to just like move my body. It ended up being one of those days where I went up in weight on everything. It was bananas. I was just sitting there like, I guess I'm gonna continue to put more weight on this? Like, question mark? Because in my mind, I was tired. This was not going to be a heavy push day or anything like that. But that's kind of the point. It's allowing yourself to meet yourself where you're at in the moment, because your mind is always going to tell you one thing. It's going to tell you these emotions are bad. It's going to tell you you're tired and that, you know, that's not a heavy leg day. And it ends up being a heavy leg day, because if you're present in the moment and allowing yourself to embrace where you are actually at and not where your mind is telling you you are at, holy moly, the way life just kind of opens up. So just wanted to give you that example, because after I was just like, I just talked about this. Okay, bye.